Hey everyone, we're back for the next video, and in this video we're going to talk about necessary divine spells and what are absolutely essential divine spells for the hardcore league. Um, I am on my character Platinum. I am level 8. I only have one more quest to do since the last time I was with you guys, and we'll take a look at it right now. It is Proof is in the Poison, and we are going to run this quest. This quest is an interesting quest because it's probably one of the harder level 4 quests. As a matter of fact, this quest was on my skip list in Hardcore Season 1. I couldn't seem to find a group to do it, and I didn't feel like risking it, but I have changed my mind about it. It's a challenging quest, though, because it's long. There's a ton of monsters, and there are some potentially very deadly traps. If you don't have a trapper, it can be quite challenging. We will not have a trapper. However, we will be using the hireling that came with the expansion. The Muse will be our digital buddy. And we will also be using a level 8 favorite soul that has 2 minutes left on it, apparently. um, normally, if you are on your live server, you want to play without companions or hirelings or whatever, because you'll be a better player. On the hardcore league, where we want to eke out and squeeze every single advantage, if this were a live event, I would look and see if there were a group, but there are no groups because there are no people playing. Actually, there are quite a few people online right now. It looks like maybe a couple of them are questing, but this is, it's very dead considering we're in the after party. So what I'll do is I'll grab my buffs, and we are going to go. I have 30,000 platinum. We're going to go to House K and grab some scrolls and wands and potions before we go into this quest, just to make sure that we have everything. I may even buy some scrolls of summon monster so we can have a little bit of extra help, because like I said, this quest has a lot of monsters in it. Gives me 65. I want yeah, might as well get a stack of 100. I will buy some wands. Looks like I can use Cure Critical for 75% chance, so I am going to buy 2 of these. I have Permanent Shield now. I can cast Resist Energy. You can get wands for Resist Energy if you can't cast it yourself. I think I'm also going to pick up a Neutralize Poison wand just to have it, just in case. And then Invisibility. I want a few more Invisibility scrolls. This is the summoned monsters, and I like the little Archonling that you can get. It shoots a little ray from a ranged ray, so I'll get 20 of these scrolls. I have my stone skin wand still. And not that I use a lot of spell components, but I will just check. Looks like I still have enough. Okay. I'll do the dice rolls for the day. See how we do. Craptacular. Oh, well, I got some platinum. That's helpful. That's why these silver rolls are helpful. Oh, this guy will give me a reward. Nothing that I need, but I will take it and sell it. Actually, I'm going to refresh this hireling. Nimith is a great hireling, by the way. She is coded with the same AI that they use for Larafay. If anybody knows Larafay, she is the best of all the hirelings that you can get for yourself. Larafay is the best, hands down. She is phenomenal. Okay. You know, Larafay is phenomenal because she is a stone cold killer. She doesn't mess around. She will murder everything before you can even get to it, if you let her. She's a pretty decent healer as well. So we'll go in this quest on Elite. There is a good chance we could die. This quest is kind of difficult, you know, but we'll take our time. I'm going to pin these guys at the beginning. I don't really need them with me yet. So I'm going to throw some buffs. And I want to sort of clear out this front area, and I'll talk to you guys about the traps. There's a bunch of traps right away that we have to be careful of, and they're around this corner here, but there's a lot of monsters. And so once I pop the trap, there will be casters here. See, so I want to pop them first, because when I go downstairs to deal with the trap, otherwise I don't want these guys shooting at me from up here, so I'm taking care of them now, because the lever and the trap that we need to deal with are directly below us. Okay, so I invised myself, and in this room, this is around the corner. There's a whole bunch of traps that are going to pop up in this area, and there's going to be an acid or a fire jet that shoots down. I think it's a fire jet. It shoots down from here, and if you didn't take care of those casters, they would be shooting lightning bolts down at you. When I pull this, the trap is going to spring, and the natural reaction is to jump backwards because you're not sure, but if you stay right here, there's actually no danger of getting hit by it. I'll invis myself again, and the reason I'm invising myself, and you can see the traps are in front of us, the reason I'm invising myself is because I didn't clear out the hallway of the monsters. So I just have to be careful when I run around to avoid the trap in the middle of the room there. And as I run up, there's spawn. This is why I was invisible. I didn't want them to come down there. You could probably drag them into the trap and kill them that way if you wanted to, but... And then for this trap, clearly you don't want to run over the bridge. What you do is you go around the side here. If you can, I just fell into the room with the traps. Alright, so I know where I am. I mean, in this sort of thing, you have to be ready for stuff like that to happen. You might make a jump wrong, or, you know, not be able to see what you're doing. And I hit some sort of a bump there, but I'm going to avoid the bump here and just get over there like that. So now I'm safely through it. And once you get through there, there are a ton of monsters, as you can see, which is why I wanted to have the healers out in case I need them. You wind your way through. Doing the best you can to take care of all the monsters. Now they will be behind me as well. They come from around this corner here, I think. Yep. There's a ton of breakables in this quest, so likely, you know, you won't get the ransack bonus, but you can try. If you need XP, likely you won't need the XP if you're going for 5,000 favor. But, you know, if you were just going straight to level 30 and you wanted the XP, this quest actually gives really good XP. So you can see I'm stuck in a web. Freedom of movement is severely needed. Now, this is one of the SSG things. Like, they gave us the ability to throw a dagger or shoot a bow and arrow at a door or a web, but I cannot make the cobwebs go away by shooting a cone of fiery magic. I mean, come on. So I have to drop out of my form and then get into a melee and then jump back into my blasting. And, you know, it's just cheese ball. That should be fixed. I should be able to blast my way through that. Now, I'm wearing proof against poison, so I should be immune to these spiders if they were to bite me. I should not get poisoned. However, there is a chance, because I'm not sure. I've noticed some glitches with the spider venom. There's a champion caster. I've noticed some glitches, and what I'm going to do is pull up the map so I can actually see the direction that I'm going. And I'm going to leave that there so I can see where I've been already. Because this quest is like a maze. Oh, it's just breakables down here. Now you'll notice, I mean, some of this quest is dark on my screen. One of the things you can do to improve that, if you don't like how dark your screen is that you can increase the gamma. And the gamma will light up. You can see that it's getting much brighter. I don't need it too bright, but it's kind of dark in here, so I want to make sure that I can see. So I'll keep, for this quest, I'll keep the gamma up high. I don't usually like running with it too high because it washes out the colors and makes the screen look a little strange, but for our purposes right now, it will help us. Lots of monsters in here. Gotta love that permanent shield. I don't have to worry about casting shield on me. You can see they're magic missiling me. And there's a lot of these casters too. So heal, I'm gonna blur myself again. And I'm going to throw another stone skin. And I will refresh my resist buffs. Need to get this lever. Check around the corner here. My Expedious Retreat fell off, so I want to refresh that. And the resists will help with those acid arrows that they're casting on me to keep me from taking damage from them. Okay, so I just went around in a circle, but I can't get through that door yet. So let's see if we can get it in this door. Yes, this is the one that we just opened. Another champion caster. So here we go with this lever. It did not open that door, but I have a feeling it did open this door. Yes, this is open now. And we need to go right here, because the left is a door that we need a key for. So we're going to get rid of all these mobs. And don't give them a chance to hit you. Just keep strafing and moving. Do your best. Usually casters, when they go to throw something at you, like the little kobold shaman will throw his arms up over his head. As soon as you see that animation start, that's when you want to move. These human casters, they'll do this sort of a thing with their arm. See what he just did with his arm? So you know when they do that, they're going to cast, and that's the signal for you to move. Whenever you see them do that little sort of flourish with their arms, that's a visual indicator that he's going to cast, and I want to be in a different location, because what they'll do is it's, you know, they'll start casting, and then you know, the where they're aiming it is already selected, so you can move out of the way. You have a second basically to move out of the way. Like I said, see, there's so many breakables in here that it's really not worth breaking them all, but I like to break as many as I can, because we can run easier. We don't have to worry about running into them. So this is a dangerous section. I want to get fully healed. I want as many temporary hit points as I can get, because I'm going to run through a trap now. Once I pick up this key, I now have to run through a bunch of acid traps. And I'm not sure if they will be an insta-kill if they hit me, but I want to make sure that I avoid them. I am not sure if you had a trapper with you, if they could disable those. I don't think there's a box, so you just have to do your best to navigate around them and take your time. This quest is very, like I said, there's lots of mobs. This room in here, you want to make sure that you have acid resist for, because there's acid on the ground. There's also casters up above. See, you can see that my cone will still hit them. It's got a much further range than it looks. I believe I just have to go around the corner here, and we'll see. I still have 3 minutes of acid resist. Even with the acid resist, I still take a significant amount of damage, but it was all temporary hit points that I suffered there, so that's not bad. Remember, anytime as a warlock with that skill that I took, Oh, there's adamantine full plate. I get temporary hit points every time I cast a spell. Although blasting doesn't count. But when I go to heal myself, if I successfully do it, I failed my UMD. But there. So now I have the maximum amount of fake hit points on me right now.
This door is
and
locked
this
from the
quest
other
here
side.
has a couple optionals. We need to get through that door. Just do your best to go slow. Try to ease into the new areas because you can get swarmed by monsters. There is a shrine, and we're at the shrine right now. I think there's a bunch of monsters at the shrine. Yeah, there's a bunch at the shrine. So if we needed it, we could shrine here. And actually, I think we will. I think I will use that on the way back. Because we have to go down here, pick up a key, and then come back. And I want that resist energies cast that I have is a lot. I just got hypnotized there, but the next spell hit my spell resistance and failed to get through. You saw the little blue shield. And I made my save versus the hypnotize relatively quickly. So I was out of it, but I couldn't move for a second. That's why I really like spell resistance, because I've been resisting those. I actually have to get my spell resistance up higher. My spell resistance right now is only 15, which isn't terrible. We have to be careful. I have a minute left on my acid resist. This is the shrine. I'm going to use the shrine. I have the cleric and the bard out, pinned at the beginning if I need them. So far I've been okay. But, you know, it's just one of those things. I think I'll pull them here. Leave them here. I'll have the bard do bard buffs while I throw some other buffs on me. Need to make sure that I keep resist energy on myself and keep my acid resist at 25 the entire time that I'm here, because this is such a dangerous quest and there's acid everywhere. We need to go back the way we came, so I have to jump back to here. Then you can see on the map the hallway straight ahead. This door.
You gained entry through the locked door.
Monsters.
Nearby.
More acid. And a caster up above. So we're going to LOS him and then jump out. And another caster. Going to try to get him without moving. My spell resistance just saved me. My permanent shield is doing its job. Okay, and there's that guy. And the lever we need is right there. Okay. And we just have to exit this room the way we came in. And then go down this hallway here. Oh, there's a magic item on the floor. I'll sell that.
By thinning out the quick-foot gang,
doing tier 3 defensive moves, utilizing the environment, line of sighting these casters when we can. There's the lever over there. You can see I could just run, but you know, we'll do our best to jump to avoid the acid. It does a little bit of damage with 25 acid resist, but we'll do our best to avoid it, and we have to leave this room the way we came. I will refresh my temporary hit points. Be careful around the corner. I'll LOS that caster. See his little arms go up. Luckily, they're doing a lot of magic missiles, which I'm completely immune to. Tier 1 immunity when you have shield. It's complete immunity. This is a tricky section right here, so we didn't give him a chance. We'll throw this lever. We go through here. A lot of hidden casters, and I just LOS that lightning bolt. Doing my best to give them no target. They really want to, but we're doing our best. So I've got to get through that. There's more casters there. Okay. And there's the lever. See, even when he cast the magic missile, because magic missiles never miss, even though it didn't look like he shot it at me, those missiles still hit me. It's just they got absorbed by the shield. The shield is 100%, just like magic missiles hit you 100% of the time. So you have to be really careful. Oh, I just got hypnotized again, but then I broke out of it right away. You can see my spell resistance is popping off. The blue. They hit me a few times. It's the silver key that we need. They hit me a few times, but it didn't get through my temporary hit points, luckily. And I believe the door that we need to go in is right down here. If we look at the map, we have not been this way yet. So that was the key we just picked up. This room has a lot of mobs in it. Casters, we're going to LOS them, drag them through the door. That gives us a nice little killing field. More casters, they're coming through this door. We'll just try to burn them down right at the doorway. And then we will examine what loot we got. We got a chest. Make sure that I have blur. Be careful. Some of them hide around the corner, so just want to make sure that I clear out these hallways as I go. You can see that dude jumped out of nowhere at us. We cannot get in this door. So I'm going to do my best to LOS everything here. I think there's some stuff down there. Oh, there's a guy standing right next to me. Oh, he's a champion too, so be careful. They tried to hit me with something that I was immune to. I saw an immune message. I'm not sure what. Likely it was sleep. And this guy, I'm going to hit him with my distance.
Oran Zaklo is dead. The coordination of Thual's defenders is crippled.
Switch back to cone in case there's a lot. And grab this. And then jump down here. I think we're getting really close to the boss. Oh, he's a champion. Don't want to get close to him. If you come across a champion melee, don't let them hit you. Like I said the other day, if you were to examine the champion and look at the buff, Solar Cruelty, I believe they get an increased melee damage, and so if you let them hit you, it you can take a lot of damage. This is the final fight. There's a couple of casters. The boss is a caster, so you want to do your best to LOS. He just put magical poison on me. I will use one of my potions to get that off of me, but actually I'll use the wand. Here we go.
Safe for now.
And that was that. So it turned out we did not even need the hirelings, but we had them just in case. You can see what a crazy maze this quest is. And all the acid, so you definitely want to come in here with acid. Acid resist. You definitely want to come in here with magic missile immunity or shield wand or shield scrolls. For that trap, having a couple of invisibility scrolls, although you don't need to invis yourself, but I think it helps. And so that was that, and that was my last level 4. And that means we can take level 9 and start working on level 5 quests. Yeah, I really hope that they fix... that's a good robe with the 14 fire resist and the combustion, which I use combustion. I really hope that they fix the slots not showing on items. That is very annoying because I can't see what slots the gear in the list. I would probably choose items that have slots in them. So I'm just going to sell and repair and level up, and then we'll talk about the necessary divine spells for the Hardcore League. If you're making a divine caster like a cleric, or if you're making a favored soul. And we'll also take a look at the Druid spells as well. That's adamantine, but that might have a slot on it. So rather than sell this gear, I am going to throw it in my bank and take a look at it later. Because the way to see if the items are slotted now is to log out and log back in again. So we'll just put, I have plenty of space. We'll just put everything that we looted in the bank, and then we'll go and level up. And I will just verify, look at it with you guys, make sure that all of my level 4s are done, and they are. So now we're going to do all the level 5s. Like I said, the first quest that we skip is level 6, and it is the devil invasion, the devil assault quest. This one. That's the first one that we're going to. That's the skip, but we won't skip it. We're just not going to do it on elite. We're going to do it on normal or hard. Sticking with the build, UMD, so I can heal. Spellcraft, that's my damage, comes from Spellcraft, and Bluff, which will give me a decent Allure 23 at this level. I get a Fire Shield, which is one of the reasons I love Fiend, because we've already talked about how essential I've have scrolls of Fire Shield. Well, now I get it as a spell, so that's great. And then following the build, I take it's Necro Spell Focus. I believe. So there we go. I'll just pin that there. I also got access to web. See if we have any enhancement points. We do. I cannot take that yet. So what I will take is this Wand and Scroll Mastery, which is fantastic because my only healing is coming from potions and wands. So I want my wands casts to be as effective as I can get them. I'm going to take this 3 points to 75%. So my heal wands will hit me for a lot. You can see right now, Cure Critical, they're the best that I can get. 80% chance to activate, and when I cast it on myself, I failed. When I cast a successful, it heals me for a significant amount, 67 points. So, I mean, that's not bad. Once I get up high enough, I'll have to check. Now that I'm level 9, I will be able to use heal scrolls, and then I will add those to this list of ways that I heal. Potions, wands, and then heal scrolls. So I think what we'll do is talk about the divine spells, but what I will do is ride, since I'm level 9 now, this is the level that I'm going to start doing this Feywild expansion stuff. And for those of you who don't have it, who haven't seen it, you get there by the harbor. There is that weird looking hut. You click on the door. The housekeeping quest, which we did, or Journey to the Feywild. I hit the little tuning fork that comes with one of the expansions that you can buy. This is a really good thing to know. This cauldron will allow you to trade some of the items that you loot out in the Feywild. Ferrocrystal chunks for weapons. And the weapons are pretty decent. Actually, I want to get this Queen's Scepter that has potency. That will replace the scepters that I'm using now. I did upgrade one of the scepters to Combustion 61. You can see that the scepter is Combustion 61, but it has Lightning Lore 9, which is not... I'm a fire caster with force damage. I still have my Impulse and Kinetic Lore that I got from the Borderlands, but I'm using the better Combustion because on these gloves, I have Fire Lore 12. So at level 9, it's not great, but my fire is 129, my force is 112, fire crit chance 17, and force crit chance is 12. That's pretty crappy, but for the hardcore league with nothing, you know, that's decent. You can see I don't do really great damage, but it was enough to get me through that difficult quest that we just did. Now, this will be the hardest content that I have come up against, and I actually am not going to quest around out here that much. I will trigger this because he'll introduce me. This little bird will introduce you to one of the explorer people. This Hersum Prince of Satyrs up here. And we'll just talk to him, and I should get a... Yeah, I got some experience. But what I really want to do here is just kind of follow the road. Oh, you can see this is one of the night hags that you chase in here. from the previous quests. If you remember when we did housekeeping, the hags fled into here, into the Feywild. So we are, you know, the quest is continuing. We're chasing them in here. They did a great job. This is a beautiful area, beautiful expansion. It's hard to kind of see because we have the hardcore league death effect, the environmental death effect that's on everything. The hardcore server is dying. But what I want to do is get to this castle. So I'm going to skip all these fights unless I see a chest. There are a couple rares that can spawn, but I don't see any. There is a rare that can spawn directly in front of me here, but it's not there. And then there's a rare encounter over there, but that's not there either. So I'm just going to go into the castle right now.
This soaring structure is Winwood Hall, the home of Lord Arden and the local center of the Summer Court.
Talk to this person here who gives me the first quest. It's a beautiful castle. So, the divine spells. Well, so without repeating myself and going over things that we've already talked a lot about, I will say that divine casters have the ability to take Night Shield. We know Night Shield gives you magic missile immunity, so it's necessary that you take that. You want to take it. So the most essential spells in the divine, the first one is Night Shield. The second one, Protection from Evil. Why Protection from Evil? We know it gives you immunity, complete immunity to domination, charm effects, and command, being commanded, greater commanded. So you want to take that. That's 100%. The next spell I think that is essential is Remove Fear. Why? Well, because not a lot of people will have fear immunity. People may not know about it. They may not slot for it. They may not build around it. And having the ability to throw up at the beginning of a quest, AoE, Remove Fear is an AoE that you can cast on someone who is afraid. If they have the purple fear head over them and they can't do anything, they're helpless, you can cast Remove Fear on them. It will make it go away. But also, when you cast it as a buff at the beginning of a quest, it gives everyone in the radius a +4 morale bonus on saves versus fear. So it will help everyone who doesn't have fear immunity when they have to make a saving throw versus fear. And as we've seen, fear effects are used by monsters all the time. There are a few fear effects like Phantasmal Killer that can straight up just murder a player, so you want to have Remove Fear. I will not talk about spells that are not helpful. There's a lot of spells that we're going to skip talking about. You can experiment with them yourself. The next most important divine spell, and I'm looking in the cleric favored soul list. We'll do druids after. But the next is Resist Energy. We've already talked about Resist Energy. You know that I use this, which is a Warlock spell out of Enlightened Spirit that puts all of the resists on me when I cast that. But as a favored soul or a cleric or even a paladin, you want to take Resist Energy, and that will allow you to cast one at a time on yourself. You could put all 5 on, but it's essential. They give you an immunity to up to the amount that is blocked by them. So you can see up to 25 points of acid damage. I'm completely immune. Anything over that, I'll start to take damage. Extremely useful. Extremely useful for the hardcore league. The next is lesser restoration, and you want to take that if you don't have potions, if you're not using scrolls. It's good to have because you may be running and you may be in a group with someone who does not, they forgot to buy potions, and now they've been strength drained by a shadow. They're helpless, they're going to die. You can hit them with a lesser restoration and remove that damage. DDO, the sort of meta changed when the game launched. Clerics and Favorite Souls weren't in the game back then, but clerics used to heal and do all the other effects removal on the party, because remember I told you that effects were permanent, so the only person that you could get a curse removed from would be another cleric in your party, unless you happen to have potions on you or a wand, or you went to an NPC after the quest was over. So what you would do if you were playing a cleric, you would run around and you would likely carry wands and wand remove them off people, because nobody really took UMD. It was very unlikely that anybody else could do wand healing or scroll healing. So you as the cleric were responsible, and everyone who played a cleric did. Where people on clerics started to complain that they didn't want to do anything on other player characters were divine vitality, because this was back before they broke it out the way it is now. Enhancements were set up much different in the early game, but every cleric could do divine vitality, and you could make it better with your enhancements. But so there would be clerics that would not make it better and say that they weren't batteries or not. There were that sort of was the whole beginning of the movement. I'm a battle cleric, I don't heal, sort of a thing. Now it's expected of you to heal and cure yourself as a player. You do not wait or rely on a cleric in DDO. It is up to you to remove your poison. It is up to you to remove your curse. It is up to you to self-heal or heal your buddies. It's just a very useful thing to have the ability to take care of any problem that you run up against, and then also to be able to do for somebody else. So if you're on a Favorite Soul cleric or paladin and you can slot lesser restoration, it is very helpful, not only for you. Even if you have a stack of potions, somebody else might not, and it is a great service to them. However, I do think that everyone should carry potions. Another trap that is, pardon me, I just saw find traps in the list, and it's one of the most useless spells in DDO. Don't waste your time with that. It doesn't work correctly for some reason, unless they fixed it and I don't know about it, but for the last 15 years it hasn't worked right. It just doesn't work. So save your slot on that. That's one of the worst spells in the game, I think, find traps. But next to that is the one that I did want to say is aid. And you want to get aid or mass aid as soon as you can. Cast it on the group at the beginning of the quest. Why? Because it gives temporary hit points and it gives bless. Bless was recently reworked, and now it scales with the caster's level, so it's a very useful spell. It gives you bonuses to attack rolls, bonuses on saves. But the best part of aid is that it gives you temporary hit points. And on Hardcore League, any temporary hit points are great. The next spell that I think is essential for the Hardcore League, if you are Divine Caster, is Sound Burst. Sound Burst is a DPS spell, sonic, you cast it and it has a radius. It's like a expanding globe of sound. Um, it's, you take it, it's DPS, so you can DPS with it. However, the reason that you take it isn't for its fantastic DPS, because it's not very good DPS. You take it because it has a stun, and the stun lasts on monsters that fail their fortitude save for 6 seconds. So it is a crowd control spell. You can chuck Soundburst into a room and maybe stun a few monsters and give your party some time. So highly, highly recommended. Another very useful spell for the Hardcore League is Spawn Screen. Spawn Screen will protect players against undead that if anybody is killed by an undead, it would cause another undead to be created by the dying player character. It's just a very good sort of defensive spell to take. It also protects against an effect that shadows put on you. So it is a very helpful spell when fighting undead. Shadows do this thing called Shadow Taint, and if you have this spawn screen on, it will protect you. So necessary. Dispel Magic, Greater Dispel Magic, we've talked about how it will allow you to not only dispel summoned creatures or effects on monsters. We don't really use it for that, but what we do use Dispel Magic, Greater Dispel Magic for is when you go to the Forgotten Realms. If you don't have a trapper, you can cast it on the spell wards and make the spell wards go away. Spell wards are traps in the Forgotten Realms, and I don't know if any spell wards exist in Eberron, but you can dispel them. And so it's very helpful to be able to do that. We talked about Protection from Evil. Next is Magic Circle Against Evil. You upgrade Protection from Evil into Magic Circle Against Evil. It will put it on everyone. We talked about Protection from Energy, which you want to upgrade to Protection from Elements, and then Protection from Elements Mass. That will put the immunity to elements on everyone in the party. So that's necessary. Magic Circle Against Evil, Protection from Energy, and just keep upgrading Protection from Energy. Swap out the old one, get Protection from Elements. Swap out Protection from Elements, get Protection from Elements Mass. That's great. Very helpful for the Hardcore League too is if you slot remove disease and neutralize poison, because if you cast them as a high level, they put an immunity on the person you put it on for 6 seconds per level. So at level 10, you would have a minute. You can extend that to 2 minutes. And it's just very helpful having neutralized poison and remove disease for that reason. I'm not sure. They recently changed the way potions and maybe the wands to work, that it doesn't leave the lingering immunity. Maybe somebody could test and see. I hope they didn't remove it from the actual spell that you cast, so that may be the last source of that lingering magical disease immunity and magical poison immunity that you can get from the cast. And what I mean specifically, if we take a look, when I do my wand, I think it works with poison. Yeah, I have a 20-second immunity to magic and non-magical poisons. The only poison that I'm not immune to is supernatural poisons. But disease used to leave an immunity like that, but I mean, as we've seen, when I do the potion, there's nothing. It just removes the effect. So you really want to have the ability to make someone immune to magical disease. It will help If you're fighting mummies, it will help against the roper monsters in the Sharn. The next essential divine spell for Hardcore League is Prayer. Prayer is great. It gives you a stacking luck bonus to attack, damage, save, and skills. So it's essentially very similar to Heroism. And it's a great buff that you can put on the party. I believe you can extend it. Yes, you can extend it. The next and probably the most important divine spell in the list of spells that you want to take is Freedom of Movement. Freedom of Movement will enable anybody under its effect to move normally during its duration. Anything that impedes movement, such as entanglement, paralysis, solid fog, all of that is negated by Freedom of Movement. Freedom of Movement will allow you to walk freely through a sleet storm. Freedom of Movement will allow you to walk through any sort of environmental effect. It's 100% probably the most necessary divine spell in the entire list. As soon as you see it, take it. Another spell that's extremely effective, in anybody who's healing will probably know this, is a spell called Panacea. Panacea is fantastic because it will remove many conditions and effects. It even has a small heal on it now, but it restores ability damage, blind, confused, dazed, dazzled, deafened, diseased. So it removes disease, exhausted, fatigued, feeble mind, insanity, nausea, poison, and it will do a small heal. So it is a fantastic spell to have in your arsenal of spells to cast on yourself, to remove an effect, or to cast on a buddy. Fantastic. We've talked about lesser restoration. You want to get restoration as soon as you can. Upgrade lesser to restoration. And then after that, they have greater restoration. You want to upgrade to that. You can buy scrolls of restoration. You can buy scrolls of greater restoration. It's a great, if you don't want to waste a slot, just make sure you have the highest one you can cast. You don't really need to take Restoration Mass because that will restore an entire party. A much more useful spell is Greater Restoration because that will restore all of the lost levels to a player that you cast Greater Restore on. Otherwise, you have to cast Restore and then cast it again and again until the person gets back all their levels that were drained away. Another really helpful spell that's similar to Prayer is called Recitation. Recitation is an AoE buff that gives anyone who gets the buff +2 luck bonus to attack, armor class, and saving throws. You know, this is all about what we talked about in Shields Up, layering yourself with defenses. So as a caster, to have an AoE that gives you a luck bonus to armor class, saving throws, and then your attack rolls. I mean, that's a great, much more defensive spell that has some offense in it. It's a good thing to take. You can extend it. And looking through the list, we come to the second most and arguably tie with Freedom of Movement is Death Ward. Death Ward is one of those spells you take it as soon as you can. It's a no-brainer because it is a tier 1 gold standard 100% immunity to death magic. It also protects you from negative energy. So arcane skeletons that have that green haze around them, you step in it and you start taking negative energy damage, you're immune. You're immune to energy drain. You're immune to death magic. You're immune to death spells. You can't be hit with, what is that? Negative energy bolt. I mean, you're immune. So Death Ward is gold standard. If you on your cleric or your favorite soul, just took Death Ward and freedom of movement, you're 90% there. You've got it covered. All this other stuff we're talking about are great for different circumstances, but those two spells, you're gold at that point. The next spell that I think is essential for the Hardcore League is spell resistance, and you can get this as scrolls. If you have the ability to UMD, I would say do it, because what it will do is put a spell resistance on you. Very similar, it's identical actually to the 15 spell resistance that I have, except that the spell resistance scrolls, or the spell resistance spell that you cast, is 12, base 12, plus 1 per caster level. So if you are level 10 and you cast spell resistance, you will have a 22 sitting spell resistance. And you can see I have a standing 15 as a drow at level 9. So that is a very, very good level of spell resistance. And heroics don't brush off spell resistance. You saw in the quest that we just did, the blue shield was lighting up on me a whole bunch of times. They just couldn't get through my spell resistance, and it saved me from being hypnotized a few times. So take it, upgrade it to spell resistance mass as soon as you can, because that's a slightly better version of the spell. The spell resistance will be higher, and then you can also get spell resistance mass scrolls, which I highly recommend that you do. We talked about arcane true seeing. True seeing allows you to see things as they really are. You can see secret doors, you can see through blur, you can see through displacement, you can see invisible creatures as they are normally. True seeing shows up on a lot of gear, so it's not a spell that you'll need to run with all the time, but you want to have it slotted because it is very helpful to have it if nobody has true seeing on a piece of gear. If you don't have it, it's worth having it. The next is something called Stalwart Pact. Now, people don't really think this spell is worth all that much, but I like it because it gives you temporary hit points, a luck bonus to your armor class and saves that trigger if you fall below 50% health. So it's sort of like a little bit of a rescue. It's not super powerful, but if you can fit it into your build, it's worth taking, because on the Hardcore League, any bit of defense, any bit of layering of that shields up that you can do is super helpful. I don't think I have to say this, but I will, just because maybe there are people out there who don't know, but your go-to heal spell is the spell Heal. Heal is a fantastic spell because not only will it heal a bunch of hit points, but it wipes away with it all sorts of negative conditions. So with Heal, you no longer need to run with Remove Disease or Neutralize Poison. Once you have the ability to cast the Heal spell, Heal will fix ability damage, blinded, confused, dazed, dazzled, deafened, disease, exhaustion, fatigue, feeble mind, insanity, nausea, and poison. It's very similar to Panacea, but the Heal is much, much better. So you want to get Heal as soon as you can and run with it. There is a Mass Heal, which is a fantastic spell to take. You just have to make sure that you have Quicken in order to use that. If you can quicken it, we'll see once we get to it, but it's just a really slow cast if you don't. The next very useful, very, very useful spell for Hardcore League, and it's one of my favorite spells, is a spell called Hero's Feast. Hero's Feast is a great, if you've ever played pen and paper, because it summons a magical feast and the party eats it and drinks, and you're well fed. And then the feast, not only will it cure you of ailments like disease, nausea, sick, but it also will put a blessing on the group that makes you immune to poison for 1 minute per caster level. And it also gives you bonus stacking hit points. It makes you immune to fear, and it gives you bonuses on will saves and attack rolls. And that lasts for 1 minute per caster level. You can get Hero's Feast scrolls. I highly recommend, if you can't fit Hero's Feast into your spell list, or if you're not a divine caster but you have a good UMD, to go pick up Hero's Feast scrolls, throw it on the party at the beginning of the quest. Whenever anybody shrines, it will trigger the feast, and then the party will benefit. The people who actually shrine will benefit once the feast is triggered from the bonuses. Highly, highly useful. The next spell in the list of essential divine spells is Word of Recall. Word of Recall is your get out of dodge immediately. You punch a button, you take the spell, you put it on a bar, you hotkey that, and when you click it, just like I have my scroll teleport to the Gatekeeper's Grove, I can punch that and immediately go. That will take you to House Denith, to the Sovereign Host temple. So if you're in a bad situation, you can get out extremely quickly. There's no messing around. Highly, highly recommended. The next spell in my list, we've already talked about Protection from Elements Mass, Spell Resistance Mass, Greater Restoration. These spells that you want to make sure that you take. Now here is... Death Ward Mass is, we want to upgrade your Death Ward for Death Ward Mass. That will hit the whole party. So here's a spell, Holy Aura. I will recommend it because it is a spell that will ward whoever you cast it on against, gives them immunity to enhancement and charm spells, and can blind an enemy if you cast it on them. It gives you a +4 sacred bonus to saves and a +4 sacred bonus to armor class. So apparently when you cast it, if any enemies are nearby, it will ward your player buddies and it will blind any enemies nearby. I don't often use this spell, which is why I'm not able to talk about it, but I think it's essential because it's got a sacred bonus to armor class, a sacred bonus to saving throws, and it gives you immunity to charm spells. So it is a defensive layer. Play around with it, see if you like it. I know in the past, years and years ago, it wasn't a good spell, but I know that they redid it or tweaked it, so now supposedly it is worth having. That's it for the Cleric and Favored Souls. We are going to look quickly at the Druid spells, since they also are a sort of a divine. We won't spend too much time because some of the spells overlap from what we've talked about with the arcane and with the divine. Obviously, any recommended arcane spells would be recommended for a druid, like jump, for example. I recommend arcane. I recommend it for druids as well. The first spell in the druid list is Vigor, Lesser Vigor. Vigor is a fantastic hot. It's a heal over time spell that you put on yourself. You want to keep upgrading Vigor until you get to the top. You know, they have Vigor, they have Greater Vigor Mass. Just keep taking the best one that you can get and get rid of the old one. It is a fantastic self-heal, and once you get the Mass version, it will heal anybody in the area that you cast. You know, it's just a great spell. There's a lot of spells in this list that we've already talked about. Resist energy, for example. And there's a lot of spells in this list that will be specific only to clerics. So specific only to druids based on the build, whether you're a caster druid or a bear druid or a wolf druid. So I'm not going to get into all that. But we are going to mention some things just so you're sure about them. Gust of Wind, we need to have this as an essential spell. It allows you to blow away any lingering environmental effects that enemy casters put up. So you want to take that. Protection from energy, same thing. You want to upgrade that to protection from elements. Upgrade that to protection from elements mass. Sleet Storm, same thing it was from Arcane. Take it. It's the gold standard CC in the game. Neutralize poison, remove disease. We've just talked about that until you get the heal spell. Until you get access to Panacea. Once you get access to Panacea, you can drop neutralize poison and remove disease. Another spell in this list that's very helpful for a druid is Quench. Quench is one of those things that you can throw it on a monster or you can throw it on a party member. When you throw it on a party member, it will protect them against fire because you're essentially dousing them with water. So it's very useful to have if you're going into a situation where there's a lot of fire. It doesn't last that long, but it's worth taking. If you throw Quench on a monster, then it makes them more susceptible. It makes them more susceptible by giving them cold damage. They have access to freedom of movement as well. You want to take it. Stone Skin, like we talked about over on Arcane. Panacea you get at level 5, so then you could drop your neutralize poison and your remove disease and just hit the person with Panacea. Then once you get heal, you could drop Panacea. Death Ward, you have to take it. So freedom of movement, Death Ward, they have access to as well. Greater Dispel Magic you can take to deal with spell wards out in the Forgotten Realms. Fire Shield, we know that Fire Shield is super important. Fire Shields is super important for reducing damage from cold and fire. Another fantastic spell that you want to take is Regenerate. If you have the ability to take it on a druid, Regenerate regenerates hit points, ability points, level drain, and will cure bleeding effects. It's a fantastic spell. You want to have it in your arsenal of things on a druid. Even if you are a bear, for example, or a wolf, it's too good to pass up. True Seeing, we've talked about. If you can fit it. Heal is necessary. Sunburst, you know from our Arcane list, that's an essential spell. Not because it does a lot of damage, but because it has a chance to blind. So if you were getting rushed, you pop Sunburst in the middle and it has a chance to blind all those mobs. And also, if any of those mobs are susceptible to the light insta-kill effect, because it's a burst of light, they have a chance to be instantly slain. For example, shadows. So having Sunburst going into a crypt where there's a lot of undead shadows and undead monsters can help you insta-kill them quickly. Finger of Death is going to be based on your build. Having the ability to instantly remove a monster from the board is fantastic. If you have the DCs as a druid, use it. If not, it's probably a waste, but you know, I have it listed as an essential spell that you will deal with your build, within your build. There's a regenerate mass. I don't think it's necessary, but you could take it, because we'll mark it as a hardcore league essential spell, just because regenerate your whole party, fantastic if you have multiple people who had energy drain damage or ability drain damage. Just super useful. And I think that is it for the spells. So we'll wrap the video up. I am going to adventure for a little while out here in the Feywild, get all the quests done. I haven't decided yet what level 5 quests to do for you guys. I may do some of the quests that are out in Three Barrel Cove, because I know that some people have issues with them. I may do Party Crashers, which I think that's the quest that I'm going to do, is Party Crashers, because Party Crashers is one of those quests that people get really confused in, and I'll show you guys how to do it. And maybe we can pull a Mirror Cloak, which will give me a very, very good spell resistance item. We'll see. But that will happen next time. In the meantime, take care, everybody, and I hope adventures go well. Join us for more. I plan to do lore videos for each quest in DDO, as well as the raids. Plus, I will be releasing more Session 0 videos for DDO on topics such as player character races, the religions of Eberron, the Last War, and the Mournlands, the Dragon Marks, the Dragon Marked houses, and much, much more. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below. I like interacting with other players. My main tune in DDO is named Mary. I am on Sarlona. I also have a guild on the Hardcore League. My guild is Death Smile. Please say hi if you're on either of those servers. Subscribe to see more Adventure AI content about DDO, Dungeons & Dragons Online, and gaming in general. I also play Star Wars The Old Republic. You can join us at Adventure AI on Discord. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Twitter. You can go to our Patreon and become a patron of the channel, where you would get access to all of the scripts, the images, the music, the videos, as well as behind the scenes, and the ability to request topics for me to make future videos. Thanks very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope your adventures go well.